Okay. And most of you have been here before, but I do ask that you keep yourselves muted until later on when there's questions, and then feel free to unmute your video and or your camera, whatever you want, and we can talk that way. So welcome. I see definitely lots of new names. So glad to see all you new people here. Very nice. I see some familiar ones too. Welcome back. I love when I see you guys that have been here before. So if you're new here, my name is Lisa. I'm a nutritionist here at Raw Generation. I host these calls once a month with our customers that are part of the Juice Club. So I would say if you're here, you must be part of the Juice Club. So thanks for being a loyal Raw Generation customer. So the calls are usually structured as this. I talk for a segment in the beginning about whatever specific topic is for that month. So if you got your email, you know that it's all about today, the lies mainstream media tells you about nutrition and some things that you probably don't expect. I'm sure you believed them and held on to them for many years. I like to debunk those myths for you. And then along the way, I'll stop for questions. And I also have the whole rest of the call after I talk is just an open forum, basically. And people bring questions about products, about general nutrition, about the topic at hand. It could be really about anything that I have expertise in. I'm happy to talk to you about. So if you want to ask a question while I'm speaking, just do a raise hand. Otherwise, I'll open it to you guys after the fact and we can all talk. And it's great because the second parts of the calls, when people ask questions, it spawns conversations, and that's how the calls kind of go from there. So I always enjoy them. Welcome to all you that just joined. So today's topic, like I was saying, it's about the lies that mainstream media tell you about food and nutrition. And it's such a widespread, deeply rooted like marketing play, if you want to call it that, that just assaults our health in every way, shape, and form. It's not just coming from marketing. I mean, even organizations like that you come to trust, like FDA and things like that, you really can't trust a lot of these places with the information they give you about nutrition and health, because most of it is funded. It's just not to be political or anything, but that's just the case of it. Most of it is funded by the pharmaceutical companies that want to keep you sick, and that is my stance, and it's a true one. I've read so many things about that over the years, but so lots of times you have to kind of look, the things that they tell you are good, they tell you to do, usually it's just the opposite of that. I mean, think about how many times, if you've been on these calls before, how many times have I had to explain to you guys about fruit and fruit sugar being healthy and not being the devil? People are so afraid of fruit sugar because they think it's going to make them fat or give them cancer or cause diabetes, because they've been conditioned to believe that because it's a false narrative that's been told for so long. Right. Thank you. So, and that's the first one on my list of lies, the lie about sugar. So I'll start with that in case you haven't been here before and you're not used to my usual spiel about it, but fruit sugar is not in any way the same as processed sugar. It's not. It doesn't work the same in your body. It doesn't have, one's beneficial, one's detrimental. It does not, one has negative effects, one, as far as health goes, and one doesn't. Fruit sugar is part of our biological design. So I'm going to explain to you how sugar works in your body very, very briefly. But basically, glucose is what our bodies use to make energy. It converts to ATP. That's how we walk, that's how we breathe, that's how we do everything that we do. Without glucose, we don't function. So everything you eat, whether it's fruit or whether it's a steak, eventually breaks down to glucose in your body before your body can use it for energy purposes. So fructose, which is the fruit sugar, the sugar in fruit, is one chemical step away from glucose, meaning it's a very efficient conversion from fructose to glucose, which is why when you have some fruit, you get an instant energy burst. If you have like an orange in the afternoon and you're feeling kind of slumpy, you get a pick-me-up. Or if you have one of our juices in the afternoon, you feel a pick-me-up. It's because the fruit sugar is giving you that natural pick-me-up. It should not be giving you a pick-me-up in a spike, like a spike in a crash. It should be a nice sustained pick-me-up because it's not processed sugar. It's a very efficient fuel. That's what I call fruit, efficient fuel. And I structure my day to eat fruit most of the day, every day till dinner. I eat a lot of fruit, and I highly recommend it. I've done so many diets over the years. If you've been here, then you know my story. I'm happy to tell it again later on. If you haven't heard it, I'll do it at the end if you want. Just let me know. But I've eaten a mostly raw diet or all raw diet for 20 years of my life, and a lot of that has been fruit. And I'm healthier than I've ever been, in healthier size, skin. I haven't been to a doctor for any kind of condition in well over 18 years for any kind. I mean, I haven't had I can be around the kids with strep throat and the flu, and I just don't contract it anymore. And I'm not saying it's like I'm superhuman or anything. It's just my body is really built up, the antibodies it needs from feeding it the right way. And it's not just food, it's lifestyle factors all in general. It's your sleep, it's your stress, it's your personal care products. It's the whole picture. It's a whole picture of health, but for the moment, we'll focus on food. So sugar is a big lie. And another lie that goes hand in hand with sugar are the things that say sugar free. So, I've had lots of clients come to me that, like, say, are diabetic, and they've seen their dietitian in the hospital, and the dietitian tells them, get sugar-free Jello, get sugar-free desserts. That's what you can have for your sweets. And it blows my mind that this is coming from a health professional, because those sugar-free foods are so toxic. They are so full of chemicals. It's 1,000 times better for you to have some little bit of real sugar than it is to have anything sugar-free that's not naturally sugar-free. It's something that's chemically made to be sugar-free. Stay far, far away from it, from a health standpoint and from a diabetic standpoint. From any standpoint, there's no place for that in anyone's diet. And that goes the same just on the side for fat-free foods. I'm fat-free half and half, skim milk, fat-free cheese. That stuff is the worst. They're chemical concoctions. They are not real food. You are way better off having 100% whole milk, organic milk, than you are having skim plus chemical-laden milk. So before I go on, did that ruffle any feathers, or you have a question? Sometimes it tends to do that. No? Okay. Next is salt. So this is a common question I get also, because I am not in any way a salt restrictor. I'm very liberal with the amount of salt that I use. And people look at me and they say, you're a nutritionist, why are you using so much salt? But I'm very, very conscious about the types of salt I use. I don't use any regular iodized table salt ever. My favorite salt is Redmond's Real Salt. If you've heard of that, it's a mineral salt. I use that pretty much exclusively. In the past, I would use things like Himalayan salts, or like Celtic salt, and I do sometimes use those as well. But Redmond's is my favorite because of the minerals that it offers, and the taste. The taste is unparalleled. And it's also a fallacy that sodium from natural sources is what causes high blood pressure. Very common misconception. There's definitely sodium sources that do contribute to high blood pressure, hypertension, but natural, like mineral salt, that type of salt, will not give you nor aggravate hypertension. It's been actually misproven that the medical field just doesn't know it, so they don't separate types of salt when they tell you to eat a salt-free. It's actually not even healthy to eat a totally salt-free diet. I did that for 2.5 years. Like I said, I tried it all. And while I felt okay, I never felt as good as I felt now when I do have some salt in my system. Our bodies need it. There's some very important electrolytes and minerals in healthy salt and good salt, and I don't believe in restricting it. So that's just my opinion after years and years of doing every other thing under the sun. Now for dairy, that's another lie that I listed there. As you know, if you've been part of Regen for a while, we are not pro conventional dairy, or really most dairy, because conventional dairy is full of antibiotics, hormones. The food that conventional dairy animals are fed is usually GMO, soy, corn. I would not recommend ever having any conventional dairy under any circumstance. I'm a firm stance on that. However, all dairy is not the devil. It's two parts of this conversation. Very conventional thinking, I'm not sure where you guys are. Very conventional thinking still says, I need calcium for my bones, I'm going to drink milk. More common thinking now is, oh, I've heard bad things about milk, I'm going to have almond milk instead. Now, I'm going to blow the lid off both of those and tell you that I don't recommend either of those. I recommend either a natural plant milk that's just nuts and water. So like Almond Breeze is not a brand I would recommend, even though it's delicious. I'd recommend like an Elmhurst or 3 Trees. Those are just water and nuts. Or an organic full fat dairy, like organic grass-fed butter, definitely grass-fed butter, A2 milk. We can't do raw milk in New Jersey, but if we could, I would definitely be drinking it. You can get grass-fed raw milk cheeses. That kind of high quality dairy does not react the same way in your body as the junky kind of dairy. Is it like a major health food? I wouldn't say that. A lot of it is nutrient dense. However, if you're in a part of your life where you want to be cleansing or detoxing, I don't consider them cleansing and detox foods. I definitely don't eat them every day. I have them only on occasion when I feel like I need them or want them. I don't recommend them if you're like fighting congestion or feeling sick. Those foods are just naturally congesting. Dairy does that, causes mucus in your body. So there shouldn't be like a major part of life. However, if you want to include some healthy, high quality dairy, I wouldn't call it unhealthy for you by any means. And I think in some cases it can be healthy. Like eggs, for example, they fall in the middle of dairy and not. I'm a big believer in, soy-free grass, pastured eggs, organic eggs. And I've never seen any kind of negative effects by including them in my diet. So there's different levels, like anything else, like, milk versus eggs versus cheese. Across the board, though, I do not recommend any conventional dairy. So if you're choosing where to put your dollars, because I know it's expensive. I know the dairy industry is very expensive to do organically, and so is produce. Dairy and meat products, that includes chicken or whatever, are the number one thing I would recommend to switch over to organic. If you can only afford to do one area of your life and you plan on keeping those things in your diet, do that first, because there's so many more detrimental things than just the pesticides in their feed. There's the antibiotics and the hormones, the steroids they're injected with. There's so many things wrong with conventional, meat and dairy industry. So that's that. The next lie is about red meat. So red meat has become villainized. Whenever I talk to people and they say, well, I kind of know what's healthy. I know stay away from red meat, don't eat fried foods. And it's part of that's a mass media lie about red meat being the devil. It is just simply not. Again, in line with my previous comment, conventionally raised beef, I would not touch for many, many reasons, ethically and health-wise. But grass-fed, organic, pasture-raised beef is nutrient dense. It's delicious. I find it to be beneficial and not detrimental to your health. I include it on occasion, not regularly, maybe once or twice a month. I'll have like a grass-fed steak or something like that. It's definitely not a regular part of my daily diet or something, but I do have it. It's not the cause for cholesterol or blood pressure or these heart problems. It's not the cause for cardiovascular disease. The causes for those diseases, and this has been proven, is just not made public. But you can find everything I'm telling you, you can find yourself. I never ever, just so you know, I never ever share information that I have not fully researched, vetted, and tested myself. I am so critical and skeptical is the word I'm trying to say. I'm so skeptical when I read any kind of health study. And first I find out where it's sourced from, because that's the key. I don't believe any sources that are ever like a funded source, because they just can't trust them. And if you're searching through Google, I don't look at anything on the first 4 pages of a Google search. I go way far down to the things that people aren't really looking at. And that's where you usually find truth. And then aside from testing it myself, I'm always my own experiment. So that being said, the causes for cardiovascular disease, for diabetes, those are processed foods. It's not high quality red meat causing those problems. It's processed foods. Our country is the sickest country, and we have the highest rate of processed foods, food dyes. I mean, that's in the media now. You hear that all the time now with, everything going on. I'm sure you all heard about the fight for food dyes and things like that. That's just one little small part of the terrible things that we put in our bodies in this country that other countries don't even allow in those countries, but we allow them here. And I'm sure you've also heard about people with, like, say, gluten intolerances. They can't eat gluten here, but they can eat it in Italy. I mean, there's a reason for that, because one's high quality and one's full of chemicals. And we're the ones full of chemicals. We are a sick country. It's because we rely so heavily on processed foods. And that goes right into the next topic, which was vegetable oil. This is a common lie. It's very common that people say, well, it's healthy, I use vegetable oil. I only fry vegetable oil. I never use whatever else. I don't use lard, I don't use butter. Vegetable oil is one of the worst things in the world you could possibly put into your body. Vegetable oil, and as well as all seed oils. Seed oils have become a more popular conversation, so you might have heard this before. But vegetable oil, I always get looked at me when I actually can't even eat it if I wanted to. I'm allergic to soy, and soy is always included in vegetable oil. But even if I could, if I get the looks of people's faces like, what do you mean you don't eat vegetable oil? You'd rather use butter? It's amazing how conditioned we still are that butter's bad and vegetable oil is good, from the margarine days of low-fat eating. Maybe some of you guys lived through that time. I remember my mother was a dieter and she would get margarine. We never had butter. We had margarine when I was a kid because butter was bad. Margarine was better for your heart. That's what people believed, and it was the total opposite. The complete opposite is true of that. Vegetable oil is almost always soy-based, not or canola-based, and all seed oils, all of them. These refined seed oils are processed in such very, very dangerous high temperature heat with chemical extraction processes that are so dangerous, detrimental to your body. Like, if you can cut out only one thing and you cut out nothing else from your body, cut out the seed oils. And it's hard to do. If you start looking at your ingredients on health foods and unhealthy foods, they're in everything. Sunflower oil, cottonseed oil, sesame oil. Oh my gosh, there's so many. I'm blanking at the moment. Soybean oil, like I was saying, vegetable oil, rapeseed oil. I can't think of all the other ones. Canola oil. All these detrimental oils. Let me pivot for a second. If you've done the Stay Skinny method, or if you consider doing it, or the protein method, or the signature reset, those are our longer weight loss and maintenance programs that I developed. And if you read the guides or watched the videos, you know that I talk very, very specifically about how to cook without oil, right? And hopefully some of you have done this before. I recommend strongly against cooking in any type of fat, butter, even healthy fats like butter and extra virgin olive oil, which are healthy fats. I don't recommend ever heating them or cooking in them, because when you heat them, it chemically changes the molecules in that fat. And when extra virgin olive oil is cold pressed, it's beneficial to your body. It's good for you. When you heat extra virgin olive oil, it's not good for you anymore. It's now oxidated, and it causes disease and weight gain. So that's a whole lot of information I'm throwing at you one time, and I know I talk fast. So before I get into the last topic, which is kind of a little bit longer, do we want to break for any questions or comments? Not yet? Okay. The last is the healthy alternatives, the lie about healthy foods. So now it's really unfortunate, and it makes me more angry than anything, that the health foods and the health food companies are lying to consumers as much as the unhealthy companies. Because shame on you. You have consumers that are trying to do better for themselves and trying to do better for their families, and they're getting all this greenwashed garbage in their products. So greenwashing means like it appears to be healthy, but it's actually really not. They're making it look like it's green and healthy, but the reality of it is, when you read the ingredients, it's not much better for you than the junk that's obviously junky looking on the shelf. So some examples of this, you'll see labels that are healthy. Oh, this is gluten-free. Or like I was saying, this is fat-free. This is maybe on skincare, you see paraben-free. You might see sulfite-free on things. Those are great things to call out, but the rest of the stuff that it's not free of is on the back. So just like with anything else, I've told you guys this before if you've been here, reading a label is not reading the number of grams of something. So it's not looking to see how many calories is in your food or how many grams of sodium. It's looking underneath that on the label, and it's where the ingredients list. It's super tiny under the numbers. It'll say the actual ingredients in a food, and that is the part of a label you need to be concerning yourself with, because it can have all the sodium or none of the sodium in the world, but if the quality of the sodium is junky, you don't want any of it. If the quality of the sodium is like a Redmond's real salt, then it doesn't matter how much of it you have it, because it's a healthy thing to put in your body. You can have a little more of it without worrying about it. Similarly to if you look at, for example, look at our juices, the front matches the back. So what's on it is what's in it. You'll see other companies or other brands in general that might be Ocean Spray, for example, they're a shelf stable cranberry juice. So they don't have to be, they're obviously pasteurized. That's how they can be on a shelf, which we're not. But if you look at the back of like a diet, even a regular Ocean Spray cranberry juice, there's artificial food coloring in it. There's artificial sweetener in it. It's not just cranberries. It's everything else, but the actual juice, plus it's pasteurized. So it's zero nutritional benefit. If anything, it's negative. It's not even like neutral for your body. It's bad for your body, but it's marketed right out there like it's healthy juice. Give this to your kids. It's diet juice. It's less sugar for your kids. It's mind blowing to me. So you have to really learn, the healthy alternatives that you think you're doing for your family. Like I just brought this up with the almond milk. People think they're buying something healthier for their family by buying almond breeze or Silk soy milk instead of regular milk. But if you actually ever read the ingredients on the back of your, carton of Silk or almond milk, there's so much other stuff added. There's gums, there's fillers, there's sweeteners, there's seed oils lots of times to make it that like creamy, the almond breeze I think has like sunflower oil in it or something gross, so they're not healthier. They're marketed as being the crunchy way to go. Like I'm buying the $5 extra, almond milk instead of buying, my gallon of whole milk for my kids. It's no better. If anything, it's sometimes worse. So I hate to be so blunt, but it's just the truth, and I get these questions on a daily basis. So I know a lot of people have these questions, like I said, I debunk the sugar question all the time. I debunk the protein question all the time. The vegetable oil and the healthy alternatives questions. I mean, people send me labels every day. Can you check this for me? How does this look? Like, well, do you know what this is? Is it a preservative? No, you don't want to eat that. Is it this? Do you want this? No. If you don't know what something is, you probably shouldn't eat it. At least not without looking it up first. So I just spit out like 25 minutes worth of fast information at you guys. So I'm sure there's now some questions, or if they're not related to what I spoke about, and you just want to talk about other things, we can start. Oh, I got one here. So from Tiffany. I'm hearing so much right now about veggies trying to kill us by the way of sprays or what the plant was intended for years ago. With that in mind, organic being the better choice, but are we still getting those chemicals, just a lesser amount? Good question. And that's, yeah, so glyphosate is a a spray on all conventional produce. And yes, there's definitely some cross contamination. Not all the time. It kind of depends, first of all, where the produce is sourcing from and how strict the regulations of the specific farm are. I mean, if something is USDA certified organic, it is pretty stringent rules. I know that from the things we've gone through here. However, it's almost impossible that you get no like runoff or like, from rain, from, it is going to have some kind of contamination unless you're literally growing your food yourself. There's going to be some kind of contamination. However, it is far less, or it wouldn't be able to be claimed to be organic. So it's, to me, the best thing to find, if you have the ability, is to find locally grown and organic produce. Next best choice is locally grown produce. And you can ask the grower directly, what do you use? Do you spray? Because lots of local growers won't spray as much because it's direct. They don't have to be shipped and stay like, as good for as long. You have to just talk to the growers and see. I do it all the time at farmers markets. And then store-bought organic is what I default to. I mean, I buy 90% organic just because I feel like it's the best option that it's available to me without me growing my own food. But yeah, there's definitely some cross-contamination, and there's definitely certain foods that have, you've probably heard of this, the Dirty Dozen, more pesticides than others. So there are certain foods that I will not buy no matter how much I want them if they're not organic, just because I just know they're super high. Like for strawberries, for example, apples, carrots, celery. I will not even eat those foods unless they're organic. I mean, unless I'm out somewhere and I'm having a couple pieces, but I'll never buy them in my house. Certain things I'll be a little more lax, like maybe a melon or a banana. I try to buy organic, but if I can't find them, I'll have them, once in a while, but never a lot. Also for me though, I eat a lot more produce than the average person. Most of you know that I was saying, either mostly raw or all raw diet, depending on the day. So it's not unusual for me to have a whole meal of 7 or 8 oranges at a time. So, that would be 7 or 8 oranges worth of pesticides if I was eating non-organic all the time. And that's a lot to assault my body with on a daily basis. So I try to eat as organic as I can with my produce because I eat large volumes of it. You're welcome, Tiffany. You're very welcome. Okay, what else do we have? I'm sure there's other questions burning in this group. Nothing. We never have no questions. I'll give you a sneak peek for next month. I have a couple of success stories coming on for next month's call. One is, you've probably seen him before, my dear friend Gary, who I became friendly with because of the company here. He did my very first Indenture Reset test group, and he's now down, I think, over 65 pounds. I think it might be more than that now. And he has a really, really great story to share. So he's going to come and talk to you guys. And another girl who has been in my test groups, her name is Gina. She's down over 80 pounds, and she's done that a lot. Is because of our generation and our juices and programs. So she's going to come and talk next week too and share testimonials. So looking forward to them. They were not available. Well, Gina wasn't available for today, so that's why I pushed it to next month. But definitely looking forward to that. Also, did you guys see there's a flash sale happening today and tomorrow? Flash sale on some key items on the intermittent fasting fuel pack, the meal replacement pack, the 1-day skinny cleanse, the skinny boost 60 count. What else is on there? The green routine and something else that I can't think of. They're all an additional, almost all up to 40% off total, and an additional 20% off just for today and tomorrow. So if those are products you've wanted to try or you like and want to order again, these are the 2 days to get them. There's a code in your email. Winter20 is the code, all caps Winter20. Although if you go to the link in the email, it takes you automatically to the discount page, so you can see, and they'll apply the code for you. But if you're coming off the regular website, you have to add in Winter20, and then you can get the extra discount. But just for these 2 days. Also, if you don't have a question, you can also share. If you have a success story to share, I'd love to hear those too. Lots of times people will come and tell me their testimonials, and I'd love to hear how you've used a product or liked a product or something you might like to see changed, or suggestions that you have for products or flavors. I mean, that all comes down to me. I create all the, I don't know if you know that or not, I create all the flavors here and all the products. So you have direct access to give me suggestions or feedback, and I would love to hear it if you have any. Barry, you're up. you want to turn your speaker on, Barry? I can't hear you if you're talking.
Okay, I hope to be back to this group within a few months with a bigger success story, but so far there's definitely been a good amount of success without going into quantifying it. But I've been doing it for 3 weeks, and I'm calling just to tell you that there's 3 people that I work with. It was one person who started it. She inspired 2 of us to start it as well. And this is part of a journey. And so far, what I love about it is that I had done a 10-day juice cleanse about 4 years ago, was very successful,
Mhm.
but it's also a lot of work, and it's also probably processed things. And I also had to do all the blending myself. And when you get down to it, even though this is a chunk of an expense, I know I'm not eating as much of other chunky things and I'm eating the proper things, but also I don't have to do any work and it's so easy. And a lot of the flavors, I discovered strawberry greens today. That's great. And just getting a lot of, just getting a lot of enjoyment out of the whole process.
Which program are you doing, Barry?
Okay, so I started with the protein
Mhm.
and then sort of switched it to an 18 box, so what I'm doing is basically I'm having probably 3 a day, maybe one smoothie and 2 of the drinks a day, and then eating a dinner, and then trying not to eat after 7 p.m. I also cut out dairy 3 weeks ago for the first time in my life. And
Okay,
so, although so far it's 8 pounds, but you know how they say 8 pounds of a lot is not, but I'm very satisfied with it. And I'm just more satisfied that they're satisfying me and I'm not craving other things. So I'm
great.
just so far a very satisfied customer.
That's Barry. I love to hear it. Do you do a green juice at least once a day? That helps with cravings immensely.
Absolutely. And so that's really how the whole thing started for me before this, is that I was doing green juices. But at some point it gets kind of boring when you're just having spinach
Mhm.
and different, it all kind of starts to taste the same. Whereas here I have a variety. And so I'm really, really enjoying it.
Oh, good. And have you tried a bunch of the smoothies as well?
Oh, yes. So to me, cookies and cream is the
My
best.
favorite. Everybody knows it.
So there's the whole balance between doing the meal replacement vanilla and the regular vanilla. The
Mhm,
regular vanilla to me has a little bit, I know it has cinnamon, so there's a little bit of that taste.
mhm.
The other one definitely has more of like a shake taste. The protein, the 16 grams of protein. It
Right.
seems to have it has more calories, but for me, I'm weighing the one against the other, and
Mhm.
so as a meal replacement, I'm preferring to do that one.
Okay.
I'll also, as a tip for other people, I mean, I'm going to try it this afternoon, but I saw there was something about I don't want to say damage, seconds of the orange carrot juice.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and so I think when I called, they said, oh, it just has a slightly different taste. So I thought, why don't I try that as well? So far, like I said, overall, very successful. The one question that I do have, I think it's called Tropical Sunrise. It says it has 71 grams. It has some kind of a crazy number of sugars compared to anything else that you guys do. Actually, I made a chart, a little cheat sheet for my buddies, because even though we see it on the website, there's not like one page that has to compare them all. So I did
Right.
a little cheat sheet for my buddies who are doing this together. And I just noticed that Tropical Sunrise just seemed to have a very odd amount of, I think it was sugars. It was one of those numbers was very high.
I'm looking right now. Let me see. What does that have? Oh, it has 49 grams of sugar. Yes, it's high. It's probably, I mean, because it's predominantly pineapple and
Yeah.
coconut water. Those two are both high but like I said earlier in the call, it's natural sugar. Nothing you have to worry
Yep.
about at all.
And I happen to love fruit, so that's why this is so great for me.
Oh, good. I said that
Thank
you?
you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for sharing, Barry. I'll comment on what you said about um, that's the almost perfect line. Where you're talking about the citrus carrot that's a little slightly different. And just for the rest of you who don't know, um, I I'm the final pretty much say with QA around here as far as taste for every batch that we make. And so if something doesn't meet I'm pretty picky. My standards, what we do is we put it at this almost perfect line. And what I do on the website, and I write it myself, I very specifically explain what part of it might be different. So I'll say it might be a little bit more bitter. It might be a little bit thicker than I like, or whatever the case might be with a certain flavor. And we sell it at literally 50% off at the discount. It's just our cost, just so we're not throwing it out down the drain. It's perfectly healthy and good for you. Just tastes not quite like I like for someone's first experience or what they're used to. And a lot of customers really enjoy having the almost perfect line. So you just can find that on the website if you ever want to try that. And I definitely saw some customers come in, so let me see. Greg, what are your thoughts on pre-workout or energy drinks, even if they are NSF certified? Well, we just launched a new pre-workout juice. We did this in collaboration, I guess is the word, with a man whose name is Joe McAuliffe. He is a 7-time world title holder and 15-time national title holder in drug-free powerlifting. And so he had a lot of very strong opinions and feedback about what a pre-workout should be versus what the market sells. And from the research that I did, now this is not a field that I was in prior, so I really need to educate myself on this before we made this. From the research that I did of the landscaping of products, so many of those pre-workouts were just chemically packed with chemicals, caffeine, ingredients to make them taste good, but they were just junky, artificial flavors and quote unquote natural flavors, which are never natural. Sweeteners, even the healthier sweeteners like monk fruit and stuff, I don't buy into those either. Not to mention that the boost you're getting is not always natural because the concentration is so much stronger than nature can do. So what we did with ours is we basically got the best out of nature that we could get to create it. And when he tested, he brought it to his gym and he tested it with a lot of all different ages, children and adults, marathoners, lifters, all kinds of different things. And what they found with the pre-workout juice was that it gave them a energy boost, maybe not quite as strong as say the caffeine, but a good energy boost. And it was sustained. There was no up and down with it, which they all really liked. And they're using it now, aside from his testing with it. So we felt confident to launch it with that in mind after testing it. So that's my really only experience with that, whole field of nutrition, if you want to call it that in general. Regardless of the certification, it really comes down to the ingredient label. So if you have one you're concerned about or you want to try and you're not sure, you can certainly send me a label. I'm happy to check it for you. My email is Lisa Testa, my name, @Raw Generation. And just send me a screenshot of the back of your label, and I can let you know if it's yay or nay. And that goes for any of you if you ever want me to read the label. I do it all the time for people. Hope that answers your question, but feel free to clarify if you want to know more. Tiffany, I did the 10-day protein and lasted 7 days. Lost 2 pounds. I was hoping to see more, and I was thinking it was due to the amount of fruit I consumed. Tiffany, likely not the fruit. I don't know if you want to unmute and talk to me or if you prefer to do it this way, but we could actually talk about it a little bit. I'd like to know how you structured your days with the cleanse and if you had anything in addition to the fruit of the cleanse approved foods or not approved foods. I might be able to give you a little bit more,
Yeah. Hey, Lisa. So for the cleanse, I did carrots, celery, and fruit. And the fruit I did were mangoes and bananas.
Okay. Were they ripe bananas or underripe? Were they yellow and green and yellow and spotted, or were they yellow or green?
I would say they were right in between the two. They weren't spotted and they weren't green.
Okay, so I'll retract what I said about fruit not causing weight problems, because when you eat underripe fruit, it's a different animal. I'm not saying this would cause all of it, but I'll explain to you because underripe bananas, especially more so than any other fruit. Bananas, when they are underripe, and underripe is anything that's not brown spotted. So fully yellow, no green on the stem, and brown speckled is a ripe banana. It's chemically converted to a sugar. It's laxative in your body. It digests very easily. A banana that's green or even yellow without spots is still chemically a starch. And that's what causes constipation, bloating, gas, and it can also cause weight gain. So it could also impede your weight loss because it's very hard for your body to digest. So I don't know how many of those bananas you ate. That certainly could have potentially added to why you had slow weight loss. Secondly, I don't know what your workout schedule is like or how much cardio you were doing during the cleanse. This is obviously intended for people that have more active of lifestyle because it's more calories with the protein smoothies. So there's that. Also, I usually recommend, if you look on the website, the order for drinking these particular juices. I do recommend the juices the first half of the day and the smoothies the second half of the day. It's just a better way to structure for not being bloated, because the smoothies have more fat in them. Obviously, not that they're unhealthy fat, but it's healthy fat. If your primary goal was substantial weight loss, the best, I mean, all three cleanses do weight loss for sure, but the best like weight loss focused cleanse is really the skinny cleanse. You just can't do full out exercise. You have to kind of just like walk or do stretching or modified like low stuff, not like full out HIIT workouts and stuff with that cleanse, because it's just not enough calories.
Okay.
I don't know if that helps or not.
It does. I tend to work out in the morning, and when I do that, I'm more hungry in the morning. So I tend to have like my more heavier meal when I'm done working out in the morning with weights and stuff. So I did have one protein in the morning, and then I did save the other two for the evening.
Okay. One thing, I mean, in general, I don't know if you've been here before. Generally speaking, I know it's harder when people work out in the morning, but you might want to consider changing your calories that you have early in the day to be lighter and not heavier, because light to heavy is the best way to eat for sustained weight loss and like for no bloating. I had to learn this myself. I was not natural for how I used to eat, but I learned this and I've stuck by it for years with my customers and my clients. I mean, prior outside of here. So light are foods that are very low fat, lower in protein. I know things sounds opposite of what you're doing with your workouts.
Right.
Higher in carbs and calories. So, because carbs are where you get your energy from, for sure. And I'm not saying you shouldn't ever have protein and fat; they're definitely very important. But when you structure your day as light to heavy and have those heavier, more more dense nutrients later in the day, you'll notice a complete difference in your digestion. Your elimination should get better. Should go from 2 to 3 times a day is a healthy elimination cycle for a healthy colon. That usually never happens for people until they learn how to eat their days properly. And then when you do light to heavy, you're also getting a lot more fiber because you're having a lot more vegetables and fruit, because those are the lighter foods, in addition to other like lower fat foods like potatoes, for example, or say like beans and things like that. So post-workout, that's what I recommend, definitely having bananas. They're a perfect post-workout food. Bananas, dates, and celery is like an awesome smoothie to make post-workout because of the electrolytes and the potassium and everything in there for you, but they have to be ripe, not unripe. It's a huge difference.
Okay.
And how they work in your body. I mean, I'm classic for having huge smoothies with like 4 to 6 bananas in one smoothie. I'll drink the whole thing, but I've never had problems because they're always fully ripe before I eat them.
Got it.
So
Thank you.
Tidbits. You're welcome. All right, who else? Anna, can you please send a direct link to the flash sale? Yes, I can. If you give me 1 second, hold on. It's today and tomorrow. Where is it? Here we go. Copy. And here is the link for the flash sale page. I have the Stay Skinny Boost and Skinny Cleanse in my cart. It's not valid for those products, Leanne. It's only valid for the 6 or 7 products on this page link that I just sent you. The Stay Skinny method is not one of the products on it. The 60 count Skinny Boost is what you might be thinking of. That is part of it, but the Skinny Cleanse and only the 1 day Skinny Cleanse is a part of this promotion. The regular 3, 5, 7, and 10 day Skinny Cleanses are not part of the flash sale. It's just certain ones. So if it's not valid, then you don't have. If you go to that, you're welcome. Yeah, if you go to that link, you can any of those things you can do with the extra discount. And Greg, you're welcome. I just saw your thank you. Okay, we still have about a little bit less than 20 minutes. Alyssa, not sure if I need to call support. I just purchased a green routine and tried to redeem 20 juice bucks, but I couldn't use it. Can I apply to a subscription? You should be able to apply to any order. As far as I know, I never heard that you couldn't do it for a subscription. So, but yes, I would say call customer service, ask for Amanda or Sarah Ann, and they'll definitely be able to help you. They pick up all the time and they're very quick to help you. They should be able to apply it for you. And you're welcome for the link. Yep. So I said we have about 15 minutes left. So what else do we have? Any other main topics of question or things that you've heard that you want to kind of talk about more? I'm curious, is anybody here done, or is anyone here doing the signature reset? Ever? Any of those people here today? I have a new group, just so you know, starting for this. If you've been thinking about it and are not sure, I have a group starting for this the end of this month. You'll be getting an email about it. I believe we're starting together on the 24th. So you have to order, I believe, no later than the 18th to get it in time. Just if you want to do it with a group. It'll mostly be taken care of on our Facebook page, but I'll be popping in there and have some other help in there too. The Signature Reset is a 90-day program to help you lose 20 pounds and keep it off for good. And the way you do it is by learning a whole new lifestyle. So what I basically did was I took what I teach a client in my 2-hour initial consultation, and I broke it into, I think it's 12 different little videos that are topic specific. So there's a video on how to eat fats, a video on how to read labels. It's like as if I'm sitting talking to you, and everything I would normally tell a client, I put in these videos for you. So you learn how to basically restructure your whole life. So it's people that are looking for more of like a whole reset. That's why I call this Signature Reset, not like a fast term cleanse. But and the whole reason for it being 90 days is because it's been scientifically proven that by day 45, you start to develop habits. So it's no longer like having to think about, well, what am I going to shop for? What do I need to prep? It just becomes habitual. And by the end of the 90 days, it's your new lifestyle. It's not like you've made it like a habit. And that's the whole point. And in addition to the videos that come with the course, I have 11 lifestyle guides that I include that are mine that I've used with my clients for years. So it's like a meal prep guide, healthy protein guide, eating out in a restaurant guide, healthy swaps, that kind of stuff. Things that I have used over the years that I kept adding to my client portfolio because it was things people would ask me for. If I met with them, I'm like, oh, can you give me this? So I'd add it. And so these are the things that I kind of readjusted to use with you guys as well. And it has recipes, 55 really simple Signature Reset approved recipes that are all included too. So anyway, if anyone's interested or wants to know more about it, I suggest looking into it and trying to start with the group of us, because it's nice to have the support of a group. And we're all going to be beginning together on the 24th because it's exactly 3 months from that point to Labor Day weekend. So if your goal is to feel and look really good by the summer and to have healthier habits before the summer, it takes you right up to 90 days, takes you right to Memorial Day weekend, which is like in the Northeast where we live, it's the kickoff to summer. Memorial Day weekend is what we kind of strive when the beach season starts. So that's why I picked that day for our start day. So where do we find it? If you go to the website under Weight Loss Systems, you look for the Signature Reset. You'll also be getting an email about it. I think it's next week about this particular group. I'm interested in the 90 days will be discounted by the start day. It's not right now. We don't have a plan to discount it. However, I could propose it. I don't think it'll be discounted again, probably until later in March. That's probably the next time there'll be an actual discount, but I'll find out. Maybe we can do a little something because for the group going to start, I'll ask, making a note as we speak. How do we join the group? Well, to join the group, you'd have to purchase the Signature Reset product. And then you'll be getting all kinds of texts and emails and all kinds of stuff that are part of this whole program. And then for the group, we'll be doing this together, like on social media, more or less, like on Facebook with our Facebook group and stuff like that. So that's kind of like where the group is for this. If we get enough interested people, and I can certainly host a call or two too. I just have to see how many people want to jump on the bandwagon of this particular timing. You're welcome. I think I didn't miss any questions in here. You're welcome, Tiffany. Yeah, Gary that I was talking to you about, the man that's going to be talking next month, he started, like I said, with the first Signature Reset group that I had. And at that point, we used to do weekly calls with the Signature Reset group, which I loved doing. But the only time that we could find that was like kind of good for all time zones was not a great time for the average person to be able to join in the middle of a work day. So the calls were like, they were attended, but they weren't like, these calls are pretty well attended. It wasn't like these all the time. So it ended up being too much time. But if you are part of the Signature Reset, you always have the option to email me, you get my personal email to email me directly. So I am the only person going back and forth with you with questions. And you can always set up a one-on-one call with me anytime if you're in that program. It's one of the benefits of being in that program, to have a one-on-one call with me, to have like a talk if you need to. What about caffeine, good or bad? Well, caffeine is a stimulant. I don't think it's like evil, but I don't recommend it, having it a lot. It kind of depends on your situation. You know, if you have certain health conditions, there's certain health conditions that should never have caffeine. Hypertension, GERD, any kind of IBS. Certain things are definitely autoimmune disorders. They're triggered by caffeine. for sure. If you're normal, kind of healthy, just doing your thing and want to have some caffeine, I don't see any really harm in having a small amount. What I don't love is the fact that your body gets addicted to it, like any other stimulant or drug. So if you can have it in a way that's not like addicting, that's ideal, because you don't really want your body to be hooked on something for energy. The idea is not to, I mean, because caffeine does, it suppresses your adrenal glands. It can cause adrenal fatigue, especially if you abuse it and you have it a lot. So they will heal over time if you cut out the caffeine, let your body replace that caffeine with like green juices and green smoothies. Eventually, your body will compensate and you'll have energy without the caffeine. So in an ideal world, you wouldn't be having it often, but once in a while, like as socially or something, rather than relying on it every day to have energy, because that's when you know that you're abusing your body in multiple ways, whether it's stress, sleep, food. If you have to rely on coffee to function, there's probably other things out of whack in your body that are going to be causing other problems, whether it be diseases or weight gain or things like that. Greg, you mentioned being careful with cooking oils. What do you recommend to cook with instead? Sorry, I might have missed that. And you didn't miss it. I didn't get into detail. So what I recommend doing is cooking, like I recommend either a water saute, which I know is not the same as like olive oil cooking for us Italians and Europeans, but a little bit of water or chicken broth to saute or pan cook foods. And then you can always, or steam, and you could always add olive oil after the fact if you like the benefit of the oil or the taste of the oil. You could also dry roast, which I love to do. Like on parchment paper, I'll still season, like I'll wet say I wash my cauliflower or whatever, so it's a little wet. That'll help the spices adhere. And I'll still salt it and pepper it and spice it, and I'll dry roast it, and it tastes delicious without the oil. You don't even miss it, really. So dry roasting, steaming, air frying, or water sauteing are the best ways to do it. And that you'll see if you do that, it's a game changer for weight loss. It's also a major game changer for hormones for women, whether you're in perimenopause, menopause, or even just regular ovulating stages of life. It makes a huge difference when you stop cooking your oils and your fats. Are there black bean burgers to purchase? I thought someone mentioned on the last webinar that they ordered them. I could have misheard. They were part of our half-day juice cleanse that we had. They included the burgers. We never did sell them separately. They were always part of the cleanse. We're no longer actually selling that cleanse, but I will tell you that we used a company, a mother and daughter owned company in Virginia, very small, and they were making the burgers to order for us. And they do sell under their brand at Whole Foods, which is called No Bull Burgers. I don't know if they have our same exact flavor. They probably don't, but I mean, their original is probably the closest to what we were doing. So if you want those specific burgers, that's the only way that I know if you can get them. You're welcome, Karen. Have a great day. I love to see you every time. I have some regulars. I love when you guys come that are my regulars. I feel like you're my friends now. Okay. I think I got everybody now. Greg, does that make sense to you about the oils, or is that still, I know it's a little bit weird compared to what people are used to doing as far as cooking. Guys, we got 8 minutes left. If there's anything that's burning in your mind that you want to talk about. I'd love to know which products you guys are a part of to have you in the juice club. If you want to share, I'd love to know. Peanut and almond butter, actually, no. You can buy peanut butter is always roasted nuts. If you can get one with just peanuts and salt, it's organic, not the worst, because there's no like, I mean, it's not the best, not the worst. Raw almond butter you can buy without, that's not heated, and that's what I actually use all the time. So I would recommend. Trader Joe's has a great one, raw almond butter, really tasty. Does the cleanse help insulin resistance? Well, not really, because that's a long-term fix. Cleanses are a short-term situation. They're not going to hurt insulin resistance. They're not going to make it negative by any means, but they're not going to fix that issue because it's just a short period of time. Insulin resistance is only reversed with a lifestyle change, something like the Signature Reset or like the Stay Skinny method, for example. Perfect example of a program that's kind of like the Signature Reset, but it's a shorter weekly commitment, so you can do it weekly. That, if you do the light to heavy eating, that's key for insulin resistance, that light to heavy eating. And that's taught in all the weight loss programs that we have. I teach that. So no, a cleanse is not going to fix it in and of itself. A cleanse is the start to healthier habits. So if you did a cleanse first and then went into, say, the Stay Skinny method after, or a healthy eating program of your choice after, that eventually will combat insulin resistance. It's a much bigger topic than just doing a cleanse. Almost perfect carrot, green routine, celery for me. Oh, nice. I'm so glad you're getting them. You'll be happy. I mean, really, like, I'm just picky. That's what it comes down to with the almost perfect line. That was my idea because I'm picky and I didn't want a potentially new customer to get a less than perfect first experience with our stuff. I love I think the taste of our stuff is so, superior. I've tasted every competitor brand multiple times. And I revamped all of our flavors and created so many new ones. And I just, I really take a lot of pride in the fact that our stuff always tastes amazing. So I don't want someone new to come in and not love it as much, but they're still great, so I'm glad you like them. Oh, thanks, Alyssa. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Have any of you tried the sippers for your kids, out of curiosity? Are you familiar with Prolon? I've heard of Prolon, and I believe it's an intermittent fasting program, correct? I don't know the details or the ins and outs of it, however, to speak to it really with education behind it. Yeah. It looks like we have another user who uses Prolon. Alyssa uses it. If you want to explain it, I'd love to hear about it. If you want to unmute, like I said, I don't know anything about it per se. I just get, every so often I see an ad for it.
Sure. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Leanne.
Yeah, I'm a Prolon user. I started it back in July. And they encourage you to do it for 3 months consecutively. And then after that, you really only have to do it, like maybe once or twice a year. But for me, I just really enjoy how I feel after. So I do it, like I did it that initial 3 months, and then I did it again in January. And so now I'm just going to do it like every other month. And it's a 5-day cleanse.
And you follow it with our cleanse after it, you're saying?
Yes. So this last time in January, I did the Prolon then for 5 days. And so then on the 6th day, I started your juice. And I did the skinny cleanse.
Okay.
And then right after that, I did your stay skinny method.
Oh, great. How'd you like it?
Oh my God, it was great.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear
Yeah.
it.
So I'm just going to do that like every other month, do the Prolong and then do your stuff.
This is like a great plan.
Yeah. Well, and I have celiac. So it just also kind of helps me, like, I don't know, feel better. My joints don't hurt as much.
Keeps the inflammation right down.
Yeah.
Oh, great. That's great. Thanks for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome.
Let's see. Can you talk about the supplement you sell? I purchased it and just curious benefits. Oh, sure. The metabolism boost, I'm assuming you're referring to. So I have to say this idea was in the making for about 2 years. Our boss here came to me and said, we have all this juice pulp that, from our juices that we fresh press every day. It's nutrient dense. I mean, it's not, we get a lot of juice out of it, but there's all that fiber there. There's still some nutrients in it. And we just flush it. It's garbage every day. Like, can we do something with it that might be beneficial to people or, to use it? And so, we came up after a lot of thinking. I had some ideas. I said, is there any way that we can dry it, low temperature dry it, like to keep it, the enzyme, to keep it intact and powderize it? And that's what we do. So the pills are based with our own juice pulp from the juices that you drink. We low temperature dry it and we powderize it ourselves in-house. Everything's done right here. And they're hand filled at the moment. We do have a machine that we're working on, but they're currently still hand filled. And then we add to it berberine. So berberine is an ancient herb for weight loss. Also helps with blood sugar control. It's called quote unquote nature's Ozempic. I had tried to use it multiple times in different juice and smoothie flavors, and there is no way to cover up the bitterness. It's extremely bitter. No matter how little you use or how sweet you make a drink, you just cannot cover up the taste. So the pill is a perfect way to give the benefits of that herb to you without you having to taste it. And then, of course, we added the L-carnitine for blood sugar control and the Ceylon cinnamon, which is also great for blood sugar. So with those, it's kind of like a trifecta with the juice pulp. And the juice pulp has fiber from 37 fruits and vegetables, 37 fruits and vegetables in it. And so we recommend six a day is optimum. So if you're cleansing, we recommend one with every juice. So 6 juices a day, 1 pill with every juice. Or if you're just having it during normal, eating, then 2 with every meal. You can also do less, but that's the max we recommend. I'm so glad you love it. So glad. We have more coming. It's gonna be a whole juice pulp line of supplements, which we're working on them. So, yeah. All right, we're just at the end here. Happy to stay longer if I missed anyone's questions. Or if we're done, then I will just sign off and say I'll see you next month. All right, guys. Well, thank you for being here. I always love these calls with you. And I'll look forward to seeing you hopefully in March. You're welcome. Have a great one, you guys.
Thank you.